Richardson out on the break, and he's gonna
looking for Webb. 3. Bang! With 4 points. Banzamuno.
Eureka College Basketball is brought to you by City Blue Technologies in Peoria, an Epson dealer serving Central Illinois with sustainable office printing solutions. Potter Rentals in Gilman, Illinois, owned and operated by Ernie and Barb Folkers Potter, both Eureka College class of 1965. By Heartland Bank and Trust. Randy Begole, your State Farm agent in Peoria, Eureka College class of 1994. And by Kirby Foods in Metamora.
Tonight, the Spalding Golden Eagles get ready for a 2-game series against the Eureka Red Devils. This is actually game 2 of that series. As always, we get ready as they look to play the Eureka Red Devils. We welcome you into the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth. Matthew Swan, my broadcast partner, Drew Donnell, alongside me. Drew, as mentioned, the Red Devils, when they did face Spalding earlier this season, they were on the road. They dropped that game 91-52, and you have to think the Red Devils continue to struggle rebounding, and it has been an issue all season long, but we do have somewhat of a positive, and I'm actually a little excited, not a little, a lot, very excited to talk about this. Courtney Hart set the single-game record in program history for rebounds. She had 25 boards in Eureka's most recent game. Let's talk about Courtney Hart a little bit. What have you seen from her? What do you like from her gameplay?
Well, see, she's an absolute workhorse. You know, there's no other way to put it. She's always fighting for her own rebounds on defense and offense, and I think that's really all you can ask out of a player like Courtney Hart. She just always, has the mindset of, wanting to get 30 or 40 boards in a night, and I think that's absolutely awesome. And she's also able to play a pivotal role and get second chance rebounds when the Red Devils are on offense as well, and that's, I think, why she's, averaging almost 12 points a game. And I think, that's what the Red Devils need. They need a role player like that is able to just step in there and give you a good 15 boards guaranteed every single night with around 13 to 12 points a night. So I think that is the biggest factor, and I think that is what has led to her amazing and unreal success so far this season.
Yeah, she'll look to keep up that success in this game. Coach Pace for the Eureka Red Devils has really expressed his interest in rebuilding, and especially over the course of the offseason as we approach that near the end of the season mark. But one of the things you have to put into perspective is what will the role of Courtney Hart be? One of the things that I've preached is if Coach Pace is serious about recruiting a lot of these star players, does that change the role of Courtney Hart? But I think you and I both know if she continues to play the way she's been playing, she will have no worry at all about where she'll stand. Let's take a look at another Eureka player, a somewhat of a newcomer, Layla Hadley, who has just been all over the floor for Eureka. She's arguably their fastest player, quick on her feet, very effective, gets downhill fast. Talk about her versatility and what you've seen from her as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of great things about her game, and there's also a lot of things that she needs to work on, and that's going to come with no matter what skill set you present on the court. I think she's gotten really good and mastered the work of her Euro step, just the quickness and agility in her feet, her change of direction. I think that's what poses the biggest threat when she has the ball in her hands. She's not afraid to shoot it either. We see her constantly before the game, hours before the game, with Coach Pace working on her three-point shots and her mid-range shots. And, I think that's, the record does not show a lot of work that is being put behind the scenes for the Red Devils. They are such a tight-knit group, and I think, we're going to see a big change. I don't want to look too far into next year, but I think we're going to see a big change heading into next season.
That's exactly right. We'll talk about Spalding a little bit when we return, but for now, as always, we send it down for the Star Spangled Banner. Stay tuned. You are watching ECTV live from the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth.
Welcome to Metamora Kirby Foods. Metamora Kirby Foods is 100% employee-owned and operated. Explore our full deli, meat department, and wide selection of grocery items, including Kirby Foods' signature brand. And you can save even more with the Kirby Foods Rewards app. Metamora Kirby Foods prides itself on being a valued part of the community. Shop hometown proud at Metamora Kirby Foods.
Are you ready to grow, to build, to To thrive? Take the next steps with confidence at Heartland Bank and Trust Company. We go beyond just offering banking. We work with you to understand your needs. Whether you're saving, borrowing, protecting, or growing, we offer financial solutions for both personal and business needs. At Heartland Bank, we believe every life has a story, and yours includes building a secure future. Let's write that story together. Visit Heartland Bank today at hbtbank.com. Member FDIC.
With State Farm Home Insurance, you can get the help you need from a local agent if things get complicated, and from our easy-to-use app whenever you need it.
Call State Farm agent Randy Bagoli in Peoria today.
State Farm helps make renters insurance simple. Our agents are dedicated to understanding your needs to help you choose the right coverage.
Call State Farm agent Randy Bagoli in Peoria today.
And now we will send it down for starting lineups.
Now let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First for the visiting Golden Eagles. A senior guard out of Huber Heights, Ohio, number 0, Michaelia Lute. A freshman out of Madison, Alabama, number 11, Brooke McNeil. A sophomore out of Russellville, Kentucky, number 14, Anastasia Dowling. A senior out of Pontiac, Michigan, number 20, Zanaya Batiste. And a senior out of Orlando, Florida, number 24, Nicole Hollowell. The Golden Eagles are coached by Raven Merriweather and assisted by Charles Jones, Nikki Boone, and Brad Washley. Now, let's meet tonight's starting lineup for your Eureka Red Devils. Introducing first, the junior guard out of Indianapolis, Indiana, number 5, Layla Hadley. A freshman guard out of Fort Worth, Texas, number 12, Kayla Collins. A freshman forward out of Erlanger, Kentucky, number 22, Braylon Brown. A freshman forward out of Washington, Illinois, number 30, Brooklyn Bowman. And a junior center out of Lancaster, California, number 55, Courtney Hart. The Red Devils are coached by Isaiah Pace in his first season.
All right, so there you have it. The starting lineups for both sides. For Spalding, it's Michaelia Lute, Brooke McNeil, Anastasia Dowlin, Zanaya Batiste, and Nicole Hollowell. For Eureka, Layla Hadley, Kayla Collins, Raylan Brown, Brooklyn Bowman, and Courtney Hart. Drew, actually one of the things we saw in the pregame was Miracle Armstrong warming up with the Red Devils.
Right, she was not on our rosters that we have in front of us, recently added a couple hours before the game, and I'm excited to obviously see Miracle Armstrong play. She was a pivotal role that she had played previously in the beginning of the season when it was young, and
so
interesting to see how it'll play out. Obviously we did not expect to see that lineup change, and we still don't know what prompted that.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot from Eureka. A lot of roster changes. Ball remains with the Golden Eagles. Lute with the basketball. Top of the key, she directs traffic. Going up against Hadley. Good screen from Dowlin. Pass over to Hollowell. Finds her teammate in the paint. Going up against Hart. Kicks it out. It's Hollowell with the triple. No good. And the offensive board taken away by Spalding. Loose ball, Hollowell back at the rim, and she connects. So we've talked about the Red Devils' rebounding ability and some of the struggles that they've had in that category. They've been out-rebounded in every single game except one. and that was against Blackburn here at home.
We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but one of the points of emphasis that I was going to hit on is one of the things that needs to be improved for the Red Devils is their passing. Their passing definitely struggled a lot in last game versus the Principia Panthers. It just was kind of out of sync and not in rhythm, and a lot of forced passes that led to a lot of turnovers. And really in the second quarter of that game against the Panthers, it was not a bad first half by the Red Devils. They put up a fight. They were only down by 8, and then the mental side of things kind of kicked in. We saw a lot of mental mistakes.
So the whistle blown by the referee. That'll be a turnover against Eureka, their first of the night. First turnover between either side. Clock at 8:37, and it'll be McNeil to pass it over to Michaelia Lute. Lute up the floor. Again, Hadley there to meet her. Red Devils have had somewhat of an efficient defense all season long, so that hasn't been a struggle, but rebounding is where they've really started to lack. Hollowell, step back triple, and she buries it. First few points of the game, and actually I believe they were going to call that 2. I thought that would have been the first triple of the night, but it is a 2.
Yeah,
Hadley.
It was really close, but from our vantage point, it did look like that her foot was on the line. Not quite a 3. Also, the other thing that the Red Devils have to worry about in this game and going up against is Spalding also has a very balanced scoring trio. They got Michaelia Lute, Brooke McNeil, and Nicole Hollowell, who all average 10 points per game.
Yeah, it's never an easy thing for a defense to do. It's hard enough guarding one standout player, but when you have 3 players that can put up a minimum of 10 points a game, that makes it that much more difficult, and that's something Eureka's going to have to go up against tonight.
Right, and when you also have, the defensive struggles that the Red Devils have faced so far this season, it definitely is a big hill to climb and a big challenge when you have 3 players that can be so consistent day in and day out.
Collins over to Bowman. 5 on the shot clock. Again, Eureka with their backs against the wall. Drew, how many times have we seen that this season? Just Eureka really eating out the shot clock, and almost to a point where I don't think they fully comprehend how much time there is.
Right, that was another thing that we saw in the last game against Principia was eating away the clock, eating away too much time, precious seconds, trying to get a playoff in. Don't get me wrong, I understand, wanting to, make sure you get it right and that, you don't rush it and don't make a turnover, but at the same time, you also want to have a sense of urgency so that way you keep the defense on their toes and you keep them uncomfortable.
Lute airballs the triple, offensive board by Batiste. She seems to be everywhere on the floor right now. Lute again leading her team right now. Drifts left, hands it off to McNeil. Now Hollowell with the basketball. 4 on the shot clock. Lute gonna have to get a shot out. Goes around with the floater and knocks it down, and that is ball control as good as you'll ever see it.
Yeah, and that's just miscommunication on defense between Bowman and it appeared to be Raylan Brown as well, where they really were doing a good job of putting on the double team and kind of got lost at who was going to stay with Hollowell.
Yeah, and I think that's another strength for this Spalding team, right? They have a lot of players that can get around the floor, and I think that's something we highlighted from Eureka's offensive perspective. They get the ball and they really just stand in one spot. They hover in one spot, and that doesn't always help their case. As we see, it really limits them to what they can do with the basketball.
Right, and that's kind of, when we traveled to Principia and, kind of scouted, if you will, that game, and just to kind of see, how they would play and, there, as that's a hard fall for Martinez as she gets up slow.
Yeah, Martinez has taken a lot of hard falls this season. Spalding again with the basketball. This time, Hollowell short on the mid-range and a foul. So clock will stop at 5:28. Golden Eagles up by 6, looking to extend.
Eureka College basketball is made possible by City Blue Technologies of Peoria, an Epson distributor serving Central Illinois. City Blue offers Epson Precision Core heat-free printing as an alternative to laser printers. City Blue was founded in 1968 and serves more than 5,000 active customers. Learn about sustainable printing solutions from City Blue Technologies at citybluetechnologies.com.
So Batiste will go 1 for 2. Collins obtains the basketball, and it's tipped out. Good move by Dowlin. Batiste over to McNeil. A lot of space up ahead, and she will knock down another mid-range jumper. That'll make it 9-0 Spalding.
When we were watching in warm-ups, the Golden Eagles taking their shots, they are not going to be a team that scores all that often from behind the three-point line, but they are able to really make it hurt. You know, at the top of the key free throw line, that they simply just don't hardly ever miss from there.
Just over 5 minutes left to play. And one thing you have to put into perspective too is that Eureka, they're not a bad defensive team at all. They are usually really great defending the basketball. And so these runs that you're seeing right now, they don't happen too often against Eureka. Hadley gets the ball back. Martinez, top of the key, goes left, stops her feet, and she will get called for a travel. So the Red Devils pick up their second turnover of the night. And that will force Coach Pace to call a timeout, try to reset things here for his team, and we will take a break as well. Spalding up 9-0. Stay tuned. You're watching ECTV live from the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth.
Discover your perfect getaway in beautiful Prescott, Arizona. Your home away from home at Prescott Canyon Estates, a 55-plus community with beautiful panoramic views of Bradshaw, Thumb Butte, and Granite Mountains. Potter Rentals has properties available for monthly rental, all-inclusive and fully furnished, with all clubhouse amenities. Get more information today and make Prescott your home away from home at potterrentals.com.
The Golden Eagles on a 9-0 run as their offense really starting to stand out in this one. Welcome into the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth. You're watching ECTV. The Eureka Red Devils hosting the Spalding Golden Eagles. Drew, right now, the Red Devils are still trying to get settled in.
Yeah, still searching for those first 2 points on the board, as so far the Golden Eagles have gone on a 9-0 run. The Red Devils have honestly had some pretty decent looks so far in this game. They just have not been able to execute, and they haven't played a bad defensive game against Spalding. They've really made them chew out the shot clock and take those last second shots.
Batiste in the paint, and she knocks down another 2 against Bowman. There's that physicality starting to come into play. Red Devils down by 11. Hadley moving right, flips it over to Martinez. Good pump fake and another travel. This one a little more questionable. So that is
It looked like Martinez tried to do a shot fake and jab to her left, and unfortunately the official did not see the same. And those are always the types of mistakes that are so costly in the beginning of a game.
Another good move by Batiste for another 2.
It's so costly in the beginning of a game because you never want, obviously you never want to commit a travel and just kind of sit in your head for a while. They kind of stick with you, and it kind of really affects the mental game when you're really trying to bear down and lock in.
Collins going up against McNeil in that right corner over to Martinez. Hadley, Eureka's leading scorer. Good pass. Collins open 3 and good. Kayla Collins gets the Eureka Red Devils on the score column for the first time tonight. Drew, is that the ball movement you're looking for?
Yeah, that's exactly the ball movement that we're looking for. we definitely saw a lot more urgency out of that. And, you know, I think mentally that's a big confidence booster. You know, you're getting shut out on a 13-0 run, and, you know, what better way to do it than a three-pointer? And then, you know, the Red Devils, you know, if you've watched, you know, they love to shoot their threes. Their three-point percentage is not where they would want it to be. And when you're a team struggling to really get back into games and struggling to make those three-pointers, it's definitely a big confidence booster to get them to drop early in the game.
Hadley on the Eureka logo finds Collins again. Collins with some communication. Left wing, Hadley again. Good pass, Martinez. Another good move, controls the basketball. Hadley up the middle, good step, and the pass goes into the hands of Hollowell as she takes it away. Here's Neal putting it up. No good. Offensive board. Batiste going up against one of the better defenders in the paint. Good pass over to Dowlin. Again, Neal top of the key. Martinez closing that gap. Good defense by Martinez. Able to create some space. Neal with the right hand, and she gets called for a travel. That is Spalding's second travel in a row on offensive possessions. So maybe Eureka's defense starting to have somewhat of an effect on this ball game.
So far in the first 7.5 or so minutes in this game, I think this is for Layla Hadley. This is going to need to be a pass-first game with her, because given her speed and how quick she is with her feet, she's going to have to pass the ball. She's going to have to pass it, because when she drives into the paint, she draws a double team.
Collins, a contested triple, no good. I was pointing at Hadley. She seemed to be open in that left corner. Hollowell, good pass in the paint. Batiste, heavily guarded, finds Dowlin. She's going to go up against Hart. Batiste spinning around under the rim, and she draws the contact. Clock will stop at 1:44. And right now for Eureka, we're seeing a lot of clumping again, and that's what we saw against Principia as well. The Red Devils offense struggles with distancing themselves.
Yeah, it's gotten a little, we've definitely seen improvement based off of last game against Principia, but definitely, yeah, still those clumping issues and lack of space when it comes to being on the offensive attack.
Hadley, good pass to Bowman, who is double-teamed, gets it back to Layla, and she remains outside the perimeter. Collins thought about a three, drifts to her right. 11 on the shot clock. Hart, good pass, Bowman in the paint, and she was fouled, so she will get sent to the line for two.
That was a lot of what I wanted to see against Principia, is because they were not that good of a defensive team when trying to defend the cut down low. And good cut by Brooklyn Bowman, able to draw the contact because her defender was late getting there.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for these Eureka Red Devils, you have to remember a lot of them are freshmen, and this is their first year. Even if they're not freshmen, there's a lot of transfers that this is their first year playing at Eureka. So they had to not only deal with the idea of a new head coach, but also playing with players they've never seen before.
Right, and also high school basketball, for really any sport, high school athletics going into college athletics, college is definitely a lot, it's a different atmosphere, and it feels like a big jump from the high school level. And that's, you know, obviously a first-year coach. Obviously, you know, you're trying to get used to the environment, and based on the success the team had last year, it's a lot of pressure to perform.
Hart back up with the basketball, and she knocks it down. I just want to say that was a really great move by Hadley to get to the basket in the first place. And of course, Courtney Hart with the offensive board and the putback. Here's Smith getting it over to Batiste. Goes up against Hart, who is playing phenomenal defense. Shot is up. No good, but again, Batiste through some contact.
Eureka College basketball is made possible by Kirby Foods. They're 100% employee owned with a deli, produce section, and a meat department with its own in-house butcher. Metamora Kirby Foods is open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. They're located on Mount Vernon, Metamora. Kirby Foods is located on Mount Vernon Street in Metamora. Get more information at kirbyfoods.com.
So Batiste recently reached the 1,000 career rebounding club, and that was publicly announced by the SLIAC. Not one of the easiest things to do, and it makes it difficult to play against her because she's a leading scorer for this Golden Eagles offense, and then she can get into the paint as well and grab those boards, so it makes it a little more difficult for Eureka, even playing at their home court. 4 seconds on the clock. McNeil with the basketball. She doesn't realize how much time is left, and that will end quarter number 1. She could have gotten out a shot, but Spalding leads it 17-7 after 1. Red Devils starting to find some momentum. Stay tuned. We'll be back. You're watching ECTV live from the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth.
Did you know toner powder is actually powdered plastic, and Americans consume 100 million pounds of it each year? Epson Workforce Enterprise AM series printers are powered by simple, smart, and clean precision core technology, doing away with waste-making laser printer designs and parts that end up in landfills. So you can experience less wasting, more saving. Your Epson Business First partner is City Blue Technologies in Peoria, Eureka College's official partner for sustainable printing.
Are you ready to grow, to build, to thrive? Take the next steps with confidence at Heartland Bank and Trust Company. We go beyond just offering banking. We work with you to understand your needs. We offer checking options for both personal and business needs. Each choice includes free online banking, mobile banking, bill pay, debit card, and more. We believe every life has a story, and yours includes building a secure future. Let's write that story together. Visit Heartland Bank today at hbtbank.com. Member FDIC.
Spalding still up by 10 as we get ready for quarter number 2 in this matchup between the Eureka Red Devils and the Spalding Golden Eagles. Drew, the Golden Eagles had a really great start. They were off to a nice 11-0 run, but all of a sudden the Red Devils finding some momentum and beginning to close that gap. And there's going to be another travel against Spalding, that their third of the night. So Eureka basketball, as we see some of the fans start to make their way in. Always a good sign. Hadley with the basketball. Hadley has yet to score in this ball game, and you know she is Eureka's leading scorer. You know if she isn't in the scoring column, that's going to make a big impact on this Red Devils team.
Yeah, I'd say if she has anywhere under 11 to 9 points, that is definitely an odd night for Hadley.
Hadley with the shot, no good. Hart under the rim and puts it back up for the second time tonight. Courtney Hart, 4 points in this ball game. Eureka trying to cut down that deficit. Basketball in the hands of Batiste. She's going to go against Hart. She's been great in the paint tonight, and this time an air ball, and yeah, that'll definitely be a turnover against Spalding as Smith stepped out of bounds. Clear as day for the referee.
Clear as day for two of the fans down there as they immediately pointed.
Lute guarding Hadley as she makes her way into Red Devils territory. Martinez, another great move, creating space. Newton, triple from the left wing, off the mark. And there's a whistle. It'll stick with Eureka. Drew, you mentioned this Eureka team loves to shoot from beyond the perimeter. Of course, they haven't been seeing the results that they prefer this year, shooting just over 20% as a team from behind the arc.
Yeah, and I would say that that is probably heading into next season, that is probably going to be Isaiah Pace's, one of his main focuses is improving the three-point percentage and going out and getting some snipers from beyond the three-point line.
Yeah, he's verbally announced his clear interest in rebuilding this team. And, you know, it makes you wonder what kind of discussions does he have with his current team, the current 8 or 9 players on the roster.
Right, and like you said at the beginning of the broadcast, is that he's made it clear that this is going to be a rebuilding year. It's going to be kind of starting from scratch, and you kind of got the sense of that with the shortened roster compared to last year, but his main goal is to kind of, you know, build up that chemistry and then expand on that chemistry and really pile on and add on to this roster going into next year.
Yeah, and from the looks of it, we talked about the fact that a lot of these players on Eureka, they haven't seen each other until this season, but you can definitely tell that they've formed some type of relationship with each other, and their bond as a team has grown over time.
That was a questionable call by the official, as the fans in the front row didn't like it, and even up here we could see it. Raylan Brown called for a whack on the wrist, as I think everybody in the building, whether you're on Spalding or Eureka, could have said that was all ball. And you can see him talking to Isaiah Pace, saying that it was a smack on the wrist, and unfortunately he's not right.
6 team fouls for Eureka. Hollowell with the basketball finds Dowlin in trouble, kicks it out to her teammate, and Baptiste, another bucket. She is now at 13 points. Just under 7.5 minutes to go. Hadley on the move. Great screen by Brown. Kicks it out, and it's taken away. A turnover against Eureka. All room ahead for McNeil, and she knocks it down. It was a good idea by Hadley on the other end, but you have to slow things down at some point. And I think that's been the biggest issue for Eureka, is just awareness. Sometimes they take a little too long on the shots. Other times they move too fast for their own liking.
Yeah, and another thing is they kind of struggled to fully see the court. And, you know, we've seen it a couple times with Kenna Newton in the game, where she's sitting out on the wing behind the three-point line, and she is wide open and very, very delayed and late until her teammates pass the ball. And by the time they pass it to her, it's too contested to be putting up a three-pointer.
So it'll be Eureka basketball. Raylan Brown inbounds over to Hadley. The Eagles still lead it by 10 points. A loot will meet Hadley slightly to the right. Martinez with the basketball, heavily guarded by Hollowell. Back to Hadley. Another risky pass. Eureka able to keep control. Here's Bowman. A deep 2, no good. Grabs her own offensive board, and there's Hart to put it back up.
Exactly what they teach you. Bowman following her shot, getting her own rebound, and finding Hart sitting in the weeds.
That's a good shot from Hollowell. She's made a few of those shots tonight, at least gave it an attempt with just that one hand, using her dominant hand. She closes the distance from the basket, and she gets really comfortable. Here's a triple, no good from Hadley. Board taken away by McNeil, and there's a whistle on the floor. I will say in the most recent game between these two sides, it was pretty competitive, and we've seen Eureka show some fight despite the winless season. But it's just a matter of having the energy, having the motivation to close it out in that fourth quarter. That's typically when they start to slack off. Hollowell with a triple from the left wing, and she knocks it down. And that'll extend the Golden Eagles lead.
One of the main problems I'm seeing so far is that when Eureka's on offense, they like to try and help out and cheat down low into the paint so they don't get beat there. And an and one from Martinez.
Abigail Martinez with the bucket and the foul, and she continues to take a lot of hard hits on the floor. Drew, I don't know if you've noticed, but it really seems that left shoulder has been an issue for her.
Yeah, it seemed like it was an issue. Last game in Principia, she was really grabbing at it a lot and kind of doing that same motion, trying to loosen it up, and she just didn't seem like herself. It just seemed like that something, whatever it was bothering her and getting in the way of her performance.
So a travel against Hart. It does look like Miracle Armstrong will come into this ball game. She started the season with the Red Devils, and then since then has been off the roster for a short time, but she is back, and I think that might just be the missing piece to this Eureka team.
Yeah, and especially when you consider the fact that Armstrong and Hadley didn't get the chance to play with each other, and I'm excited to see how this pairing for guards is going to play out, having Hadley and Armstrong running the floor.
3 on the shot clock, bounce pass, loose ball, Martinez all over it, and she takes it away. Red Devils pushing the pace, Collins up the floor, up the middle, kicks it out, Hadley closing the space, and Courtney Hart is there to knock down the bucket.
That's the ball movement that these Red Devils have been searching for in these last couple of games. It was really quick, crisp, and just fundamentally sound.
So that forces Spalding into a timeout. Again, we'll take another break. The Golden Eagles still lead at 28-19. Stay tuned for the remaining 4:31 in quarter number 2 right here on ECTV, live from the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth.
With State Farm Home Insurance, you can get the help you need from a local agent if things get complicated, and from our easy-to-use app whenever you need it.
Call State Farm agent Randy Bagoli in Peoria today.
State Farm helps make renters insurance simple. Our agents are dedicated to understanding your needs to help you choose the right coverage.
Call State Farm agent Randy Bagoli in Peoria today.
Spalding leads it 28-19. Eureka still trying to get back into this ball game. You're watching ECTV live from the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth. Matthew Swan, my broadcast partner Drew Donnell on the call. Drew, you did correct me during that break, and I want to talk about just how slow this game has felt and the momentum of this game. It feels like Spalding, they start to pull away, but Eureka quickly answers. But overall, it seems like a lot of buckets have been scored, but we really haven't gotten anywhere.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of mental mistakes early so far. 3 travels for the Red. Actually, 3 travels apiece for both teams. A couple of careless fouls, and both of these teams are consistent offenses and not really exploding offenses.
So it's Lute with the basketball, now Hollowell. The Golden Eagles looking to try to pull away. Brown going up against Martinez. There's a good screen. Kicks it out. Lute, right wing triple. No good off the rim. And with the offensive board, it's Dowland. And another whistle on the floor. It'll remain Golden Eagles basketball. So just taking a look at head-to-head matchups between the two, the Red Devils right now are 15-19 against Spalding, with their most recent win coming in February of last year. That one tipped out of bounds by Hart. And again, not to hold on to the idea of last season, but Drew, you and I were just talking about it a couple nights ago, and that was something special. Spalding basketball, Lute, top of the key. Hadley, great footwork. Hollowell drifting left. There's that right hand, this time off the mark. Here's a triple attempt from McNeil. Again, no good, and a foul. Eureka will get the basketball.
Yeah, you mentioned that obviously Courtney Hart setting the Eureka program record for rebounds in the game, and like you said, it was fun to watch. She, like we said before, did a lot of getting her own rebounds, getting second chance rebounds from others, and getting a lot of defensive rebounds. And obviously, no matter what the state of the team is right now, 25 rebounds is no gimme.
Armstrong behind the back, and she loses control. Lute over to McNeil. She nearly lost it, and she does. Collins with the basketball. A lot of room up ahead, nobody to defend, and she knocks it down with the right hand. So both teams exchange turnovers, but it's Eureka who gains the advantage. Lute with the basketball, drifting left, and a turnover against Spalding. So things are starting to go in favor of Eureka all of a sudden.
Yeah, if Eureka wants to really, take matters into their own hands and pull away with this game, they have to be disciplined. They have to be more disciplined. And the same goes for the Spalding Golden Eagles. They are not disciplined when it comes to foul trouble. They've made a lot of careless mistakes, whether it's travels or foul troubles.
And now it's Collins with the travel. So Drew, to add on to your point, I think for both teams right now, what they need to do is just have a purpose. It doesn't seem like they really have an idea of what kind of move they want to make. We'll see if Spalding can work something out. Lute against Hadley. Speeds up and slows down. Good defense. Now Batiste loses it, and it goes out of bounds.
Really good defense by Layla Hadley, as was able to do such a good job of moving her feet and shuffling her feet. And like we said before, so good at being able to move her feet, whether it's laterally or change of direction on a Euro step.
Right, and that's the type of versatility we talked about when it comes to Hadley. She's able to adapt. She can shoot the ball from three. She's a great mid-range shooter, and she's a great defender. So she has all of these categories in which she thrives in, and that's a player that Eureka was desperately in need of halfway through the season.
And right there, that's if you're going to pass it and you want to get it all the way over to the wing, you have to utilize the perimeter and work your way over there. They're trying to go all the way straight over there, and that's what caused that tip pass is, trying to make the tougher passes. And I think if the Red Devils realize that if they are able to work the perimeter and get it to where they want it to be and get it to Martinez over in the corner, that it's going to save them a lot of time on the clock, and it's going to put them in a easier position to succeed.
So Hollowell, after the foul, is placed at the line. And you also have to put into perspective the amount of fouls Eureka is able to give, right? Because they don't have a lot of players on that roster.
Right, and that's where the discipline point of things comes into play, knowing the squad size that you're going into this game with.
Good pass to Hart. Collins, top of the key, gets up the shot, but she gets called for a travel. So again, the Red Devils turn the basketball over, their 10th of the night, and that sets up Spalding for another opportunity to further add on to their lead and pull away. Just under 2 minutes left to go. Lute crossing half court. Hadley will meet her beyond the perimeter. Lute between the legs. Good bounce pass over to Batiste. Hart defending, doing what she does best. Good find to Hollowell off the rim. And that was a missed opportunity for the Golden Eagles. Collins up the floor. She's going to slow things down here. Right wing, Lute guarding her. There's a tricky pass. Hart gets it stripped away. Batiste comes up with it. Golden Eagles, another takeaway. Here's Hollowell. Finds her teammate, McNeil, corner triple, no good, offensive board, and a fight for the basketball. Batiste traveled.
And on that, you have to realize if you're a forward or a guard, you got to cut down low on plays like that, because if there's two players that the Golden Eagles are going to double team, it's going to be Hadley and it's going to be Courtney Hart. And so, you know, on a play like that, Courtney Hart's going to get double teamed 9 times out of 10. That's where you can utilize the wing and the guards. They can cut down low because she's already drawn the double team.
So the Red Devils make a mental mistake that allows Spalding to get the basketball, and there's a good block by Brooklyn Bowman. So she keeps it a 9-point game, clock 1 minute, 8 seconds. McNeil to inbound, deep pass. Hart nearly took it away. Batiste going to work, stopping her feet, finds Lute, and it's off of her hands. It'll be Eureka basketball.
Once again, we've seen so far in these past minute and a half of play, the defense has really tightened up for the Red Devils. We've seen amazing defense by Courtney Hart, Brooklyn Bowman with the block there, and Layla Hadley's been playing solid defense as well.
Good transition by Martinez. Collins from 3, no good. Just short. There's Hart with the offensive board, and there's the double team. Yeah, so Drew, like you were saying, that's where Eureka needs to understand.
Yeah, that's where that sense of urgency needs to kick in. Can't be holding on to the basketball. That's what's going to cause those jump balls and those travels. Gotta be wanting to get rid of the ball on a play like that, especially when you're flirting with going out of bounds.
Good pass, Batiste against Brown. Finds some space, off the glass, no good. Loose ball, and it'll be taken away by Hadley, who's in trouble. Finds Bowman. The Red Devils are going to have to get this one across half court. Hadley starting to speed up. Open lane, good no-look pass. Martinez, corner 3, off the mark, and Hollowell with the rebound. 10 on the game clock. Lute wants one more shot. One leg floater, and she knocks it down. Clock will keep running. Red Devils can get one more shot out. Hadley with a full court shot, and that is off by a wide margin. So the first half comes to a close. Spalding 32, Eureka 21. It is the leading scorer for the Golden Eagles, Batiste with 13 points. Drew, any remarks before we send it to break?
You know, although they're down by 11, I think we're seeing a lot of positives and a lot of strides so far. We're seeing the defense really tightened up and grinded there on those last 3 or so possessions, and you know, I think they're working the ball better around the perimeter. They just need to be able to knock down those 3-pointers if they're going to take them. But I like what I'm seeing so far.
Eureka will look to clean things up when we return, but for now we take a break. Stay tuned. You're watching ECTV live from the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth.
Welcome to Metamora Kirby Foods. Metamora Kirby Foods is 100% employee-owned and operated. Explore our full deli, meat department, and wide selection of grocery items, including Kirby Foods' signature brand. And you can save even more with the Kirby Foods Rewards app. Metamora Kirby Foods prides itself on being a valued part of the community. Shop hometown proud at Metamora Kirby Foods.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
A good citizen is someone who wants to make a positive impact, both in their communities and in the world around them. the Division III approach is absolutely the best approach out there for amateur sport because it wants student athletes to explore all parts of who they are. Be successful in the classroom, be successful in competition, be successful in the community. So our student athletes learn what it means to strive for and attain success, but doing it the right way and being good citizens.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Hi there, I'm Sean Sandrock, and I'm a sophomore here at Eureka College, studying political science and history with a pre-law emphasis and music vocal performance, and I'm going to be showing you around campus today. This is Burgess Street, which separates the academic and residential sides of campus. Let's begin our tour here at Dickinson Commons, which is one of our 2 eating establishments here on campus. It's set up like a food court style, which offers substations, a grill station, pizza, and even a home-cooked meal. We also offer lots of vegan and vegetarian options here on campus. This is Burgess Hall, which houses our social science and business classes. It also contains our professors' offices and student classrooms. Built in 1891, Burgess was originally our library, which since has moved across the street in 1967 to our new library. Did you know on the 3rd floor of Burgess we have a new creative design lab, which is designated to all of our art students. This is Melick Library, which has many resources here on Eureka College's campus, including upstairs cubicles, the gaming room, which is a lounge area, downstairs classrooms, and the Ronald Reagan archives. Did you know that President Reagan is a Eureka College alum? If you can't find your book here in the library, we're fortunate enough to be part of the iShare database, which consists of 90 libraries that will find your book and send it here. You may be wondering what classes are like here at Eureka. We usually have a student population of about 500 students, which allows for a lot of individualized attention in the classrooms. Our student-to-professor ratio is about 13:1, which allows students and professors to really get to know each other. We are now coming up on Benham Binkley on my left and Sanders on my right. Benham Binkley was built in 1917, right at the peak of World War I, and Sanders was added on in 2014 with the use of 100% donations given to the institution. This building was awarded Leadership in Energy Environmental Design, which focuses on Sanders being an eco-friendly structure. These buildings are classified as our math and science halls, which house classrooms, professors' offices, and a few science labs. This is Pritchard Theater, which was built right around the same time as Benham Binkley and was originally our sports complex here on campus. The main floor was the gym and the basement was our swimming pool, where President Ronald Reagan swam as a freshman here on campus. This building is now used for our fine arts classes. Eureka College also played a role in World War II. Enrollment was down due to war efforts, and we were looking for a few new ways to bring in some cash. The college found a program where we could house Nazi German prisoners of war here in the United States. So Pritchard Theater became a holding place for prisoners of war where they would walk down the street during the day and work at the canning factory. The building behind me is the chapel, which is a very historical building here on campus. It is home to our music department. Downstairs includes classrooms, professors' offices, and practice rooms. Upstairs, you will find McAllister Hall, which is where many students perform today. This is the stage where Ronald Reagan gave his first ever speech on behalf of Eureka College's student body. This is the hall where President Reagan discovered his speaking ability. In his 1982 commencement address, he stated, "Everything that's been good in my life began here." Our oldest building behind me was built in 1858. Our administration building, Burris Dickinson, includes the President's Office, the Provost's Office, the Business Office, Alumni and Development Office, and some staff and professors' offices. If you look at this side of the building, you may notice some things when we reach the other side. Eureka College was founded in 1855 by a group of abolitionists that belonged to the Disciples of Christ Church. We are still associated with the Disciples of Christ Church, but we are now a multi-faith campus and we welcome all here. Did you know that we were the first institution in Illinois and the third in the nation to admit men and women at an equal basis? Now if you look at the opposite side of the building, besides the fire escape, you will notice that both sides are exactly the same. This building was here before the town of Eureka had even been established, so they didn't know which way the town was going to expand. So they decided to create two front entrances. This is the Ronald Reagan Peace Garden, dedicated to the life and legacy of President Ronald Wilson Reagan. You will see here a bust of President Reagan, as well as a significantly large piece of the Berlin Wall, which commemorates President Reagan challenging Mikhail Gorbachev to tear down this wall. The garden is a great place to chill out and enjoy the outdoor environment here on campus. Eureka College is the smallest institution to graduate a United States president, which goes to show that all students at Eureka can dream big and fulfill them. We are now looking at the Surf Center, where there are many resources useful for everyone, especially incoming students. This is the Ronald Reagan Museum, which holds over 10,000 artifacts of President Reagan's life here at Eureka. Some were even hand-selected by Reagan himself. The Surf Center also includes the Career Service Center, Becker Auditorium, the Office of Student Life, and our college bookstore. Our final stop in the Surf Center is our second eating establishment here on campus called the Burgoo, named after a stew. The Burgoo is set up more like a store or a restaurant, unlike Dickinson Commons. Some of the students' favorite meals here are cheese sticks, chicken wraps, and Starbucks coffee drinks. While we walk over to the residential side, some students who live close may be wondering, commute or not? About 40% of our students here at Eureka are commuters, which means that all parking on campus is free for all students. Built in 2012, Arnold Hall is our newest residence facility here on Eureka College's campus. These are our most spacious rooms on campus, which is nice when sharing it with a roommate. Arnold Hall consists of 5 wings that each house upper-class residents. Each wing has its own study lounge and larger social lounge with a TV. Every room on campus comes with a bed, chest, desk, bookcase, chair, and closet for each resident. Arnold houses 2 of the 3 sororities on campus. The rooms also include great Ethernet access and high-speed Wi-Fi, as well as geothermal heating and cooling. Arnold also includes a full kitchen and lots of additional lounge and study space, including a media room on the upper level that is perfect for group project work and has a printer free for student use. Behind me is Langston Hall, which is an upperclassmen residence facility that offers suite-style living. Langston is co-ed by suite and is set up with 2 single-person rooms that share a toilet and shower in the middle, but have their own sinks in their rooms. It is convenient for upper-class students who would like to live in a quieter environment. Each floor in Langston has a large lounge area with a TV, study, and social space. The lobby area has a couple computers and a printer for student use. This is the Reagan Athletic Complex, dedicated to President Ronald Reagan and his older brother Neil, who also attended the college. Our gym is completely equipped with stadium chairs, which means every chair has a back. We are the only NCAA Division III school to have this luxury. Upstairs, a classroom, some event rooms, and many coaches' offices. The Bonatti Fitness Center is offered free to all students who would like to exercise using machines. Even commuter students have the access to this facility free of charge. Last in this building, our weight room, which is full of new equipment as of fall of 2019. Just outside the Reagan Athletic Complex, we have our football and soccer field, as well as our baseball and softball diamonds. The football and soccer field was converted into AstroTurf, and it also includes a Megatron. Here at Eureka College, we have many different athletic teams that compete throughout various times of the year. To my right is Founders Court, which is predominantly a freshman residence hall. Both of our freshman residence halls are set up to be limited occupancy so students can get to know each other and create a community value. Founders consists of 4 separate buildings that are all connected by stairwells: Darst, DeWeese, Ford, and Myers. All of our residence halls have access to laundry areas that are free of charge for all students. Founders Court residents use Ben Major just next door for additional lounge space and a large laundry facility. We are now at Alumni Court, which also houses all incoming freshmen. These rooms are comfortably sized for 2 roommates. Be sure to check your packing list before you come to campus to see what items it is suggested that you bring and what items are not allowed on campus. Connecting both alumni residential buildings is our Learning Center, a great resource to use if you want help with writing or any course, or you could help here by becoming a tutor. The Learning Center is also a great place to study and is open 24/7 for student use. This is Ben Major, named after the man who owned all of the land that Eureka College now sits upon. This is a recreational building here on campus, which gives the students opportunities to chill out, play games, or even watch TV. To finalize our tour, behind me is Guns & Hauser Hall. It was built in 1929. It was extensively remodeled, but we strive to keep the 1920s look with the original wood floors, doors, and pedestal sinks. This concludes our tour here at Eureka College. For more information or to schedule a tour, please visit us online. We hope to see you soon.
Did you know toner powder is actually powdered plastic, and Americans consume 100 million pounds of it each year? Epson Workforce Enterprise AM series printers are powered by simple, smart, and clean precision core technology, doing away with waste-making laser printer designs and parts that end up in landfills, so you can experience less wasting, more saving. Your Epson Business First partner is City Blue Technologies in Peoria, Eureka College's official partner for sustainable printing.
The airwaves just got a refresh, and you need to spin your dial to 103.1 to find out. EC 103.1 is your latest and freshest option at your disposal, with the latest alternative rock hits, new personalities, and live sporting events at Eureka College. With an award-winning pedigree, EC 103.1 will quickly be the only thing you want to hear on your radio. Now on the FM airwaves and streaming globally on iHeartRadio. EC 103.1, your rock alternative.
We welcome you back for upcoming second half coverage between the Eureka Red Devils and the Spalding Golden Eagles. Right now, Spalding leads at 32-21 through the first 2 quarters, and a lot of that scoring for Spalding has been on account of Zanaya Batiste. She leads the team with 13 points. She's been able to really move down the floor quickly, and surprisingly, we haven't been able to say this about a lot of opponents, but she's been performing pretty well against Courtney Hart in the paint.
Yeah, Courtney Hart all season long has done a masterful job of limiting the amount of success that her opponents have down low in the paint, and kind of like you said, really good game so far for Batiste.
Yeah, Eureka started out really slow, and since then they began to find some momentum, but they still are trailing, so it'll be Spalding to begin this third quarter with the basketball as Brooke McNeil will look to inbound. One of the things Eureka has done a lot of in the beginning of this game was group together, and we want to see some of that spacing up here more often. That pass deflected. Batiste is there. Great defense by Bowman, but it is still Spalding basketball. Lute, top of the key, 10 on the shot clock. Good screen. Lute, double teamed, finds Batiste, deep 2, and that one will not fall through as it deflected off the rim and the glass. Martinez will slow things down here for Eureka. Hadley controlling the pace of the game. And this is where you want to see Eureka score, coming off of a defensive stop. This is how the Red Devils will plan to chip back into this ball game. Hollowell stepped out of bounds. So it'll be Abigail Martinez inbounding the basketball. Coach Pace on the Eureka bench informing his team. Martinez, deep pass, finds Hadley beyond the perimeter. Hadley over to Bowman, thought about the triple. Martinez creating a move, goes with the non-dominant hand, no good. Hollowell with the basketball. We've seen Martinez take a lot of those difficult shots tonight, and really it seems like she's competing with herself in a way, just trying to gain some of that confidence.
Yeah, and right there I would have liked to see Brooklyn Bowman try to shoot that three there. It's kind of a common theme that we see with the Red Devils a lot of times, is they're very hesitant and it doesn't seem like they're confident to take that wide open shot. And I think right there, taking that shot early on in the second half, I think would have been beneficial, because we know if Bowman is left with too much time, she can sink those triples when needed.
Good ball movement from Eureka. Collins' attempt at a three, no good, and that'll roll out of bounds. I will say throughout the season, that second quarter for Eureka has arguably been their most productive quarter offensively. And not to be a stats nerd here, but after that second quarter, the Red Devils start to fall apart a little bit. Lute with the basketball, finds space, and that will be a travel against the Golden Eagles. Lute thought she got away with one.
We've seen about 7 or 8 travels so far called between both teams so far. So they have continuously made those mental mistakes, and like I was saying in the first half, if the Golden Eagles are going to keep making those mistakes, the Red Devils have got to be able to capitalize on those mistakes.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, Eureka and Spalding both having some trouble controlling the basketball right now, but Spalding has definitely been the better team when it comes to
miscommunication
coming back.
Right there. They got numbers.
Martinez, good pump, good fake pass there, but no good on the shot attempt. And it's McNeil up the floor, going against Martinez, finds Lute in that right corner. Lute to her left against Hadley. Yeah, see, that's another missed opportunity for Eureka on offense. Drew, like you said, they got the steal. Couldn't come up with any points, though. Offensive board put back up.
Hartz has to be able to get that rebound.
Dowlin connects for 2. Eureka basketball once more. Just under 7 minutes left to go in this third quarter. Hadley over to Bowman. Bowman with her feet planted. This is where you want to see some movement on the floor. Martinez, deep triple through a lot of contact. Again, 4 different Red Devils were grouped together, all standing in one area. Trouble getting back on defense, and that will be a foul against Spalding. So Eureka catches a break. Bucket will not count.
That's one thing that Abigail Martinez will give to you is that heart and hustle. As right there, she was able to hustle all the way down the court after missing that three and able to draw the charge.
Hadley again with this basketball. Drew, how impressed have you been with Hadley coming onto this team for Eureka almost halfway through the season, keeping in mind that she was Coach Pace's highest rated point guard?
Yeah, I've said it a lot. It is super exciting to watch Layla Hadley ball out the way she has been. I feel like I'm on repeat. There's so many good things to say about her, and I talk about her a lot. She just has so many pros when it comes to her game. Still, like I said before, lots of improvement, and not just for her, improvement for everybody.
Yeah, as mentioned, she stepped into this team nearly halfway through the season, and immediately she has made a lasting impact. Collins attempt for a triple off the mark, and it is Dowlin pulling down the rebound. Hollowell with the ball. Here's Batiste, open look, and looked like Hadley wasn't aware of where the basketball was, and that one gets stolen away by Neal with the right hand and the bucket. So some confusion right now and lack of awareness from Eureka. Let's see how they plan to respond. Collins in the paint, and she finds an answer for Eureka.
And this is where you need to stop the bleeding if you're Eureka. Halfway into the third quarter, and the This is kind of the kryptonite so far this season for the Red Devils is that third quarter. It seems to be where the wheels start to fall off the rails.
So a foul against Courtney Hart. That will send Luke to the line.
Eureka College basketball is made possible by Heartland Bank and Trust, serving 48 communities throughout Illinois and eastern Iowa, including Washington, Metamora, El Paso, Germantown Hills, Carlock, and in Eureka. Their main branch is on Main Street downtown, and their drive-up and ATM is nearby on Center Street. You can find Heartland Bank and Trust anywhere at htmbank.com.
So Luke goes 2 for 2 at the line. She's now at 6 points for Spalding. And Drew, like you said, the third quarter has been a struggle for Eureka throughout the season. They only scored 8 points in that third quarter against Principia in their most recent matchup. Brown trying to connect from beyond the perimeter. No good, and Hollowell tips it out of bounds. And I think a big reason why Eureka struggles as we progress into the game, again, you put into perspective their small roster size, and they haven't been utilizing their bench a whole ton. But a timeout taken down on the floor. Spalding leads it 42-23. And we will take a break as well. Stay tuned. You're watching ECTV live from the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth.
With State Farm Home Insurance, you can get the help you need from a local agent if things get complicated, and from our easy-to-use app whenever you need it.
Call State Farm agent Randy Bagoli in Peoria today.
State Farm helps make renters insurance simple. Our agents are dedicated to understanding your needs to help you choose the right coverage.
Call State Farm agent Randy Bagoli in Peoria today.
Spalding has already put up 10 points in this quarter. They lead at 42-23. We welcome you into the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth. You're watching ECTV. Matthew Swan, my broadcast partner, Drew Donnell on the call. 4:53 left to go here in this third quarter. We know that Eureka has struggled in the third quarter throughout the season. Drew, what do you think Eureka can do to kind of store some of that health, some of that momentum, if you will, and be able to carry on in the fourth quarter?
Well, they need to take more quality and smarter shots. It seems like they're trying to get back into this game by putting up anything they can. And I just as there's a big time three-pointer by Hadley. As I mentioned earlier in the opening, that is one of the things that she has been really working hard at and trying to master is that three ball, as she is so deadly when it comes to driving to the hoop. And that's not always going to work, and she has to be able to be a guard that can knock down those threes.
Hadley kicks it out to Brown. Brown over to Armstrong. Armstrong stands at the top of the key, gets it back to Hadley. Red Devils doing a great job at passing the basketball. 6 on the shot clock. Armstrong finds some space inside the perimeter. No good on the shot. Rebound taken away by Dowlin. And it is Neal up the floor. Good skip pass, and Dowlin at the rim connects for the bucket. 46 points now for the Golden Eagles. So already you're starting to see a lack of hustle from Eureka. Again, just putting into perspective, they don't have a lot of players to sub in and out. So you're going to see the players get tired pretty quickly. Good pass, and Hart not able to connect, but it was a good move from Hadley. Again, Neal with the basketball. Good pass, same spot for Dowlin. Going against Bowman, no good on the first attempt. Offensive rebound pulled down. Here's Lute in the left corner. Batiste against Hart. Fighting through contact. Neal looking for space, and another whistle on the floor.
And you mentioned it, that was a really good feed by Layla Hadley, as she was able to draw 2 defenders on her and find Hart. And it's that quickness and change of direction that we speak so highly of when it comes to Hadley.
So Neal will get the basketball in play. But for now, Dowlin comes out of this ball game, and we see King substitute in. Another tricky pass, gets it to Batiste. She'll flip it to Neal. Bowman guarding Neal. Here's a deep two from Hollowell, and she buries it. Again, Hollowell doing a really great job. She's really accurate with those deep twos, and you have to think she definitely wants one of those triples.
Yeah, and we mentioned it before that McNeil, Hollowell, and Lute are those three players that will offer you each 10 points per game, and obviously that is something you always want on your team in that consistency area.
So Martinez called for yet another travel, and it'll be Spalding basketball. Just under 3 minutes to go in quarter number 3. Neal looking for the Hollowell screen. Finds space, has to back up. Overhead pass nearly taken away by Collins, and it's tipped out of bounds. So clock will stop at 2:31. The Golden Eagles lead it 48-26. A team that was picked 5th in the SLIAC preseason poll after going 10-16 overall and 9-9 in the SLIAC last season. Lute with the basketball, finds Batiste, gets into the paint, spins around, puts it up, and no good. Loose ball, offensive board taken away. Neal to Hollowell. Back to Lute. Here's a top of the key triple, off the mark once more, and another fight for the loose ball. This time it'll go to Eureka. Well, you have to give Coach Merriweather for the Golden Eagles some credit. Coming in his first season with the team, and he's really trying to turn around this program after only 3 starters have returned for the Golden Eagles this year.
Yeah, it's always really tough when it feels like you're starting from scratch all over again. Obviously, you want as many people to return as possible to keep that chemistry, because everyone is, in that sense, familiar with each other's playing styles.
Collins going to work, in trouble, creates some space, knocks down the shot, but she is going to get called for the foul, so the bucket will not count. But as we continue to talk about Spalding and the fact they only have 3 returning starters coming into this season, being Batiste, Lute, and Hollowell. Those are 3 starters that we've seen come in today and really make a mark on this ball game. And not only can they perform really well, but for example, Hollowell and Lute, 2 players that provide somewhat of this leadership for the team, and that's something Eureka doesn't have a lot of. There's a triple knocked down by Kennedy Brown, the freshman out of Anderson, Indiana, and that will push Spalding past 50 points. Brown trying to do the same, but she's a little too strong on the shot attempt. So 1:14 left to go in this third quarter. Hollowell over to Neal. I do really feel as if Brown can develop her ball control and ball handling skills, she can be a star. And she already has the 3-point ability in her back pocket. But if she can just learn to drive, you're talking about, a starting spot, continuing to start next season. Obviously a starter now, but with Coach Pace planning to bring on some new players, Brown can make it really competitive for this Eureka team next season.
I think so too, and I think a lot of it is her getting in her own way, her getting in her own head. We see her, she's able to knock down threes easily in warm-ups and in practice. It's just, I think when it comes to game time, I think she just gets a little too nervous and kind of gets in her own head a little bit. And then that'll happen when you have a roster full of mainly all freshmen.
Martinez, top of the key, finds Collins. She goes up for the triple and knocks it down. Kayla Collins for 3. Red Devils add on to their point total. They're at 29. Hollowell trying to do the exact same thing. This time no good. Loose ball knocked out of bounds. It'll stick with Spalding.
And Martinez really fighting through the pain as she, again, after that fall, grabbing onto that shoulder. And I kind of noticed it as they were leaving the court. I think she has a shoulder pad to try and help with that nagging left shoulder.
Brown this time right wing, and she connects once more from 3.
Just as he talked about it. We know that she has that ability in her back pocket to be able to knock down threes. It's just, what I see is that she, like I said before, needs to get out of her own head and kind of have that confidence and play loose. It just seems like a lot of these Lady Red Devils play super tight and tense.
And that's something Coach Pace has been working on specifically with Raylan Brown. After one of the road games, I was able to just sit in somewhat on a conversation between Pace and Brown, and he definitely trusts in her ability to knock down the 3 ball, but it's a matter of her own confidence coming into play and how well she trusts herself from beyond the perimeter. But the third quarter comes to an end. Spalding leads it 51-32. Stay tuned for the fourth and final quarter coming up right here on ECTV, live from the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth.
Are you ready to grow, to build, to thrive? Take the next steps with confidence at Heartland Bank and Trust Company. We go beyond just offering banking. We work with you to understand your needs. Whether you're saving, borrowing, protecting, or growing, we offer financial solutions for both personal and business needs. At Heartland Bank, we believe every life has a story, and yours includes building a secure future. Let's write that story together. Visit Heartland Bank today at hbtbank.com. Member FDIC.
Welcome to Metamora Kirby Foods. Metamora Kirby Foods is 100% employee-owned and operated. Explore our full deli, meat department, and wide selection of grocery items, including Kirby Foods' signature brand. And you can save even more with the Kirby Foods Rewards app. Metamora Kirby Foods prides itself on being a valued part of the community. Shop hometown proud at Metamora Kirby Foods.
The Eureka Red Devils were held to just 11 points in that third quarter. Welcome into the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth. Let's get a look at that Raylan Brown triple from the right wing. That's right, Raylan Brown heating up from beyond the arc, and that's what she does best. It'll be Spalding basketball to open up this fourth quarter. Good bounce pass over to Hollowell, spinning around. Kayla Collins knocking down the bucket. So believe it or not, Eureka did perform pretty well in that third quarter. Usually that's where they struggle the most, but they're overriding some pre-written statistics here. Here's a triple from King, and she knocks it down. Her first triple of the night, and Spalding continues to pile on. And this is what the Golden Eagles did best against Eureka at home the last time these two faced off as well. It was more competitive throughout the first 3 quarters, but in that fourth, Eureka stepped off the gas and Spalding realized that, and they took full advantage. Just a reminder, this broadcast will be followed by the men's basketball game as well shortly after. King inbounds over to Neal. Just over 9 minutes left to go. Martinez guarding King. Right wing, Hollowell inside the perimeter. Finds some space, goes up for the mid-range bucket. No good, gets her own offensive board and hits the floor. We talk so much about these Eureka players moving, and rebounding as well has been a struggle, but you can see Courtney Hart, who you can't critique too much because of how much success she has brought to this team, but it didn't really look like a whole lot of effort was placed in trying to get that loose ball. So it remains Spalding basketball. Neal over to King. Finds her teammate Brown. Back to Hollowell, 6 on the shot clock. Brown makes a move, goes up with the right hand, and again, with some glass assistance, gains another 2 points. She is now at 17 in this ball game, which leads the team. Here's a triple from Martinez. That one spins in and out. Hollowell pulling down the rebound. Her 8th rebound of the night. King, right wing, thought about the 3. That ball nearly tipped out of bounds. Good defense by Newton. King again with the basketball. Neal over to Hollowell. Goes up for a triple and knocks it down from the top of the key. The 3 ball coming into play late here for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, surprisingly, Spalding has really found a rhythm in the 3 ball here. We saw them in warm-ups, and they were really struggling to hit those 3-pointers, and they have, out of nowhere, just found a fire behind that 3-point arc.
And that's everything you look for out of a team. And I think the way they're going about it is very classic and the right way. They started off slow, not necessarily slow. They did go on that 11-0 run to begin the ball game. And a lot of those shots were from inside the perimeter, inside the paint. Here's Hadley, no good from 3. But since then, the Golden Eagles have really progressed. They've found some momentum, understood the type of game plan that Eureka was informed on and the type of plan they came in here with. And they started to heat up a little bit, and now they're stretching out how far they're shooting the basketball from. And it's working out really well. Armstrong, great move. Hadley through some space, using the right hand off the glass, no good. And another rebound for the Golden Eagles as they push the pace. Deep pass and contact between Martinez and Smith. So that will stop the clock at 7:13. 28-point lead for the Golden Eagles. And this one will remain Spalding basketball as King will inbound over to her teammate, left wing. Neal stands top of the key, now in the hands of Brown, and that one goes out of bounds. It'll stick with Spalding.
And as we mentioned before, Coach Pace has been, very, very vocal to his squad that, this is not going to be an easy year. This is going to be a rebuilding year, kind of trying to figure out what our identity is going to be. And I think, it's kind of games like this where you let it get out of hand in the 3rd quarter. It's kind of these types of games where you just kind of take it as a learning experience. And really the whole season has one too, especially when you consider that a lot of this squad is made up of first-year freshmen.
Yeah, and I think Eureka understands that too, and they realize that they are searching for their identity, what kind of basketball players they hope to become. And of course, you have to think a lot of players, they come from different high school backgrounds, and they are now formed together as one team, and you hope that they take a lot of the lessons that they learned with them this season and apply it to their potential future careers here at Eureka. Newton over to Hadley, top of the key, kicks it back out. Good pump fake by Newton. She's in trouble. Deep pass to Armstrong, kicks it out. Martinez, a triple from the left wing, short. Good offensive board. Bowman in the right place at the right time. Martinez again in trouble. Another difficult shot as the shot clock was winding down, and she had to just force one up there. No good. And that'll be a shot clock violation against Eureka.
It just kind of seems like the Red Devils are unfortunately in one of those positions where they just kind of have to hope and pray that, however contested their shots are, that they just hope it goes in. And, obviously you hate to see that because, it's kind of like with when we call it the football games. You just know how, what the potential they really have and how good they really can be.
Loose ball, fight for the basketball, and a jump ball signaled by the referee. Man, Neal had such a great move, and all night she's done a really great job at creating space, using her speed and footwork to dance around some of these Eureka defenders, but she just wasn't able to finish with the right hand. She came up a little short. But a lot of these Golden Eagle players are just really in control of what happens with the basketball. Again, another key trait you'd like to see in a basketball team. So another clock stoppage here, 5:09 left to go. It'll be Eureka basketball as Armstrong will inbound. Just over 5 minutes to go. Hadley up the floor. She will be met by Neal. Good screen by Newton. Here's Hadley with a good open look, not able to connect, and Spalding comes up with the basketball. Neal, tricky pass right under the basket. Hadley takes it away. Hadley at the rim, and she gets fouled. Are they calling that a shooting foul? Yes, they are. I wasn't sure if she was in motion or not, but Hadley gets sent to the line for 2.
Eureka College basketball is made possible by Randy B. Gold, a State Farm agent in Peoria. Randy graduated from Eureka College in 1994, played basketball and tennis, and was also a member of the TKE fraternity. Randy has been serving State Farm customers since 2001. His office is located at the corner of Knoxville and Forest Hill in Peoria. You can also reach him at 309-322-8150 or at randybegole.com. That's randybegole.com.
So another break taken between both sides. We'll keep it here for now. 4:48 left to go. Spalding on top 60-32. Drew, right now I think they're in a position where they're just trying to close this ball game out right now.
Yeah, really all it is, the main goal for the Golden Eagles is to play a clean game and, not make any unnecessary mistakes or get into any unnecessary situations.
So both teams will come back out onto the floor, and it will be Layla Hadley at the line as she was previously fouled going up for a shot. And again, we talked so much about Hadley's appearance on this Red Devils roster, how much she means to this team, and just coming in nearly halfway through the season, already becoming Eureka's leading scorer, averaging 12.6 points per game. And I truly do think that Coach Pace was scouting her for quite some time. You put into perspective that she was at Wittenberg, and of course you can imagine she was a standout player as well in Wittenberg. No good on that shot. So Spalding basketball. Armstrong applying some really strong pressure. That one's tipped away. A fight for the ball. Spalding keeps control. Here's a triple. Neal off the mark, and that one tipped out of bounds. It'll stay with the Golden Eagles.
Good pressure on defense by Kenna Newton and Brooklyn Bowman. They really did a good job of staying true to the double team. Just unfortunate that they weren't able to get the ball to go the other way and on a bit of a positive. But that's what you like to see on defense from a team that is struggling to put points up on the board and limit the amount of points that they give up. They average about giving up 70 points per game.
Yeah, and this is a very important game for Spalding too, and I don't think we touched on that enough coming into this one, but they're 8-9 overall, right? And they're still fighting for a potential playoff spot or a tournament spot in the SLIAC. They currently sit 4-4 in conference play, just at that 500 mark. So you have to put into perspective, this was a pretty important game for the Golden Eagles, and it's always, as I always stress, it's not the easiest thing to battle on the road in front of fans that are opposed to your team and still pull off a win. So you do have to give Spalding their props, give them the credit. Eureka basketball, Hadley drifting to her right. Armstrong going to work, spinning around, in trouble. Hadley, good move, steps back, fires, and she's too strong. Rebound will be not taken away by anybody. Again, another jump ball. We do want to announce that the home game for women's basketball against Greenville was originally scheduled for Saturday, but it is now postponed to a later date. Spalding basketball. Here's Neal. Great defense by Bowman. Spinning around. King loses it on the way up, and Hadley takes it away. She picks up the pace. Collins, open look at a triple. Too strong off the back of the rim, and that one pulled down. Spalding basketball. Another great defensive opportunity there by Bowman, as she really isn't letting Spalding get past her right now. Neal, top of the key. Collins applying some great pressure. Back in the paint, spinning with the left hand, no good. And that'll stick with the Golden Eagles. 2:49 left to go. Again, you can imagine that Eureka will not be involved in the SLIAC tournament, but again, you have to take with that what you will.
Right, you kind of even, no matter what the record is at the end of the season, I mean, you could be undefeated or you could, lose every game of the season. There's even if you go undefeated, there's still things that you need to work on. Obviously, it's going to be an off season where there's going to need to be a lot of reinforcements added and a lot of work put in.
Collins with the basketball. Good pass to Hadley on the other side of the court, and a foul call down on the floor. Clock will stop just under 2.5. Red Devils down. Spalding leads at 62-32. So this remains Eureka basketball. Hadley will inbound. Good find over to Collins, standing in the left corner. Feet planted, good move, finds some space, no good on the shot attempt, and it's Smith pulling down the basketball. Neal up the floor. Spalding pushing the pace. King wanted the triple, but instead hands it off to her teammate Smith. Off one leg with the right hand. Missed opportunity and out of bounds against Bowman. It'll stick with Spalding. I do also feel as if this will be a pretty interesting, I guess is the word I'll use, but it'll be interesting to see how far Spalding can make it in the SLIAC tournament as well. You're talking about a team that has yet to win the SLIAC Women's Tournament Championship.
Right, and the other thing to think about too is how will this momentum boost them forward? It's always tough going into, you're out of, your home turf and going into an opponent's turf and, snatching a win in front of their home crowd. And, you always wonder what kind of momentum boost that will do for them and what it will do going forward for the Golden Eagles, considering that, this win would put them above the 500 mark.
So another clock stoppage here, 1:31 left to go. Spalding still up 62-32.
Eureka College basketball is made possible by Potter Rentals of Gilman, Illinois, owned and operated by Ernie and Barb Folkers Potter, both Eureka College class of 1965. Potter Rentals offers both residential and commercial property rentals, including vacation rentals in beautiful Prescott, Arizona. You can get more information on their website at potterrentals.com.
Armstrong at the line, and she will go 1 for 2. Offensive board pulled down by Bowman, but her pass tipped out of bounds, so Eureka remains with the basketball. Yeah, and just going back on Spalding's SLIAC tournament experience, their most recent appearance in the championship game was back in 2019 against Greenville. They, of course, lost that game 72-66. but they've never actually achieved that title. Bowman, no good on the shot attempt. Newton tried to save it, instead passes it off to Smith. Spalding basketball, a lot of room up ahead. Good pass deflected, saved by the Golden Eagles. A fight for the ball. Finally, they regain control. Here's a triple from Brown at the top of the key, and she knocks it down. Under a minute to go between the Red Devils and the Golden Eagles. Hadley with the basketball beyond the perimeter. Good move, gets it off to Collins. Collins with the triple attempt, off the mark once more, and another rebound pulled down by Spalding. So this could potentially be their last possession with the basketball. Neal continues to direct traffic. King right wing. Hadley guarding Brown. Collins wanted to snatch that one away, but instead it remains with Spalding. 7 on the shot clock in the paint. Good defense by Bowman, and another defensive stop by Eureka. 10 on the game clock. Collins across half court. Eureka will have one more shot attempt. Collins in the paint, creating space, no good. Gets her own offensive board and knocks it down. 1.1 to go. And that will conclude tonight's ball game between the Eureka Red Devils and the Spalding Golden Eagles. Spalding wins it. Final score 65-35. Red Devils, it took them a while to find some momentum, and they fall to 0-18 overall, 0-9 in conference play. Spalding improves to 9-9 overall, and they now jump past that 500 mark in the SLIAC, so that's always a good thing for them. Drew, any remarks before we close things out?
I did like the last second and last minute efforts on defense. It's always what you want to appreciate. Never want to, show that you're physically, emotionally, and mentally giving in to your opponent at the end of the game. I saw that a lot from Brooklyn Bowman, especially at the end there with that deflected pass and that block shot. Other than that, honestly, a bit of a slumper of a game for Courtney Hart. Really didn't, have as many rebounds as we're used to seeing from her, nor as many points. And, give credit to the Golden Eagles. They really did a good job of defending, the Red Devils' key players like Layla Hadley and Courtney Hart. So, obviously, give credit to them.
Yeah, so Nicole Hollowell leading Spalding with 20 points. Kayla Collins for Eureka leading the team with 12, but that's all we have for you. Our next broadcast of Eureka College basketball will be in about 30 minutes when the men's Eureka basketball team hosts Spalding University. You can watch that broadcast right here on ECTV. Again, coverage begins in roughly 30 minutes live from the City Blue Technologies broadcast booth. Eureka College basketball is made possible by City Blue Technologies, a leading Epson dealer serving Central Illinois. Potter Rentals of Gilman, Illinois, owned and operated by Ernie and Barb Potter, both Eureka College class of 1965. Heartland Bank and Trust, Randy B. Goal, your State Farm agent in Peoria, Eureka College class of 1994, and by Kirby Foods in Metamora. On behalf of my broadcast partner, Drew Donnell, this is Matthew Swan. Thank you for watching.